I wander around, but I have a loud voice, so that's good. Unlike Coach Dennehy, I'm actually going to coach a U12 girls game in Exeter, New Hampshire with girls from here. So I'm not on the Gronk bus, but I'm on the fun bus, boy. It's something. You know, we can segue maybe at the end at the fact that we'll pass about 318 rinks between Walpole, Mass, and Exeter, New Hampshire, where we could play a game, but none of them were seen fit to play our level, I guess. As I was driving in here today, I was listening to Spittin' Chicklets, the podcast. It can be a little racy. The language is not appropriate when you have the kids in the car constantly hitting the pause button. But they had Mike Motto on this week, episode 50. And one of the first questions they had was, you know, Mike, hey, you're a really good player. You must be teaching a lot of skills. And Mike said, I'm quoting, you know, that's like every jabroni's doing skills right now. I want to teach kids to play. And that's kind of how I've come to this presentation, come to this point in my life. There are more kids that can skate, shoot it. I mean, people can absolutely hammer it. I had an alum come to our practice this week who graduated 5 years ago. He's like, Coach, they shoot it way harder than we did. Everybody can skate. Everybody can go fast. Everybody can shoot it. But how many kids do we have that can play the game? You know, and I think most of us as coaches at the end of the day say, oh, he's really good, but they can't play the game. And there's a lot of reasons. I don't proclaim to have all the answers. This is my belief. Like anything, it's one idea out there. But I think our practices need to be more game-like. We need, as coaches, to make our practices more game-like. And there's only one way to do it, and that's to play the game. Play the game in variations, with restrictions, with conditions, but to actually play the game. If I said, you know, I assume almost all of us have kids. What's the one thing we all say now? Our kids don't do what? They don't go out and play. Again, not strictly, you know, if anybody's like me and I come to these and then I leave sometimes, I'm like, geez, I'm the worst parent in North America because I'm like you guys. I coach a U15 boys team, which my son doesn't play on. I coach U12 girls. I coach Babson. I do hot camps. I mean, I'm like Mark. I love the game. I'm a lifer. But I'm the same way, like, hey, I have twin daughters who are 11. You know, did you shoot pucks today? They look at me like, what? There's a Harry Potter festival on right now. When I grew up, if you wanted to watch something in the afternoon on TV, you had 4 choices. And one of them was Merv Griffin, and I didn't get that until I saw Seinfeld 25 years later. Our kids have more at their disposal, so it might not necessarily be that they don't have a passion to play. It might not be that they don't have an opportunity to play. It might be everything else in the world. You know, my kids this morning are streaming something on Netflix that, you know, is just foreign. So when we get them, when we have this rare opportunity to let them play, let them play. Don't drill them to death. Whoops, quick trigger. So as I started to think about this, you know, to me this kind of sums it up. Practice on the left, game on the right. And I always try to relate this to us at our age. Did you golf? If I said to you, you want to go golfing tomorrow? I'll meet you at McGolf. You'd be like, I don't want to go to the driving range. I want to play. I want to play. I don't want to go to the driving range and beat balls. And the problem is that when we just practice to practice, when we practice to do drills, when we practice for completion of a task, let's see them all turn left. We really got to work on our shots. Okay, they'll go around this cone, that cone, then they'll shoot a puck. It's not game-like. It doesn't present them with real game ability skills. It doesn't present them with the problems that occur. What usually happens in a game when you go to shoot? There's 9,000 people in front of you. And as you get older, people putting their face in front of the puck and the coach is yelling, block it! Shooting lane! And it's like, you know, holy cow. So it looks more like on the right when they actually play a game than it does on the left, but yet we practice a lot like the left. Beautiful, wide open, 100 yards wide, perfect balls, no conditions to play against. I don't read over my slides, so they're up there. I know you have the packet. Hockey requires what? What's one thing a hockey game requires? Simply, anything. A puck. Great. What else? Ice. Players. How many teams? Two. An opponent. There's an opponent trying to prevent you from doing what you want to do. There is someone who is practicing also, has coaches also, and wants to stop you from succeeding. So when you think about your practices, how many of your drills, how many things you do have someone preventing you from doing what you want? And the little orange guys that are this high don't count. Okay? So if we truly want to teach the game, if we truly want to create players who can think on their own, who can problem solve, who can figure something out, who can play the game so we don't all go to, I'm not a coffee drinker or an alcohol drinker, but we don't all go to Dunning Gerrans or to Dunkin' Donuts and say, oh, geez, it was a great game, but, Joey just can't think it. If we want to create players that can play and think and be productive, okay, then we need to have practices that are more game-like. Some of the benefits, and it isn't on the slide. I was thinking, listen to Mike Motto today. How many of you know someone who coaches like they work at Logan Airport or have parents that work at Logan Airport? Or they're yelling the whole time from the bench. I had a nice conversation with Brant Berglund last year about how relaxing it is to coach and not say anything. Now, granted, you do that, and some of the parents are like, well, he sucks. He's not yelling at anybody. He can't be a good coach. He didn't put his foot on the dasher once. There's no way he's got any value to our kids. And you see that offsides, he didn't argue it. Oh, my God. If you make your practices more game-like, if you allow the kids to play, discover, understand, make mistakes, make plays, coaching in a game gets a lot easier because you're no longer trying to say, well, I coached you our forecheck, and you stand here, and you're not standing there, therefore I will yell at you until you stand there. When you overcoach from the bench, to me it is a fallback position of them not understanding the game. And unfortunately, what does yelling from the bench do for kids? Spooks them. Creates confusion. Because they're playing, I'm going to play you, and I hear, what? We had, one of my first youth experiences, we had a kid, I said, Tommy, we're going to pull the goalie. When we pull the goalie, you got him. Okay, coach. Goalie, 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 go, Tommy. I'm looking down the ice. 5. And there's Tommy at the other end. Did just what I said. You got the goalie? Okay, I got the goalie. Hopped in the net. First lesson from me. At the bottom here, probably the 3 things that really, to me, gaming your practice will do: meaningful repetitions. Again, actual game-like repetitions in what they do in practice. Something that will translate to the game. Okay? Competitiveness. I am a big believer that every team that practices should have 2 color shirts, because competition is the essence of this game. You either have the puck or you're trying to get it back. Everything else is window dressing. You either have the puck and you're trying to make a play and score a goal, or they have the puck and you're trying to get it back. And it is impossible to replicate that without 2 different colored shirts. Pennies, great. I know USA Hockey likes the helmet beanies. I think for me, the best investment you can make is the $7 to get 2 plain. They don't have to have a logo, to Coach Denny's point. They don't have to be tackle twill, names on the back, logo on the side, white, red, blue, green, whatever you have, but have 2 colored shirts, because we want to also use games to teach our kids to compete. And that's not something we can instill, in my belief, environmentally with our words. It happens organically by being put in areas where they got to compete, 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 and compete some more. And if they do that more, I think there's a high level of translation to when they play the game. Book I highly recommend for anybody who's interested in human development at all. Daniel Coyle. Anybody read him, heard of him? Dan Coyle? What's his big explosion book?
Oh, I've heard of him.
He wrote a book called The Talent Code. And he really got into the science of learning. He really got into the science, myelin, which is a fiber around your brain, and how it interacts, and how when you learn something, it fires more, and when you're excited, it fires more, and that's how you learn skills. He's got a book coming out in January that's going to be exceptional. I think it's called, this first book was The Talent Code. This can be The Culture Code. He went around and studied all these. He calls them chicken wire Harvards. Why is the Dominican Republic producing all these Major League Baseball players when they literally play baseball with broomsticks and rolled up socks? Why is there a small town in southern New York that's producing more concert pianists than anybody? Why did CSKA, Spartak, and Moscow at one point have 10 of the top 17 or 18 women's tennis players in the world with a dirt floor facility? And so we got into studying why people learn, how they learn, why they get better. But this was really interesting to me, and I think this is, someone asked Coach Dennehy earlier, how do you measure success? Kids can't wait to get to the rink. They should be a pain in the ass to their parents. Mom, dad, we gotta go. If they are not there, if they can't wait to get to practice, that's on us as coaches. Granted, there could be things, fathers, like Mark said, he's driving from downtown Boston as an attorney. He's got to get to his house in Scituate, and then they're probably practicing in Marlboro at 4:20. I think that we in hockey are probably largely responsible for the decline in economic produce in the winter, because I'm not sure why we're doing things at 4:30 other than we have a 50-minute hour, but we'll get on to that. But you want kids who can't wait to go to the rink, because in general, same as the word homework, flashcards, Russian School of Math, this is boring. This is not fun. So you need to be the one that when they get there, they can't wait. And when they go home, they can't wait to come back. I think, one thing that's really hard, obviously, somewhere along the line, someone figured out that they could take this thing called the hockey rink, and instead of practicing for an hour, they'd only give you 50 minutes, but charge you the same. And we'd be like, oh, that's a great deal. The 50-minute hour, it's awesome. And as we all know, the 50-minute hour is usually somewhere around 38 and a half. Between the Zamboni guy getting on the ice, between the kids maybe being late, between us running around, between the kids just skating around the ice for a while, it's like all of a sudden you've got like 38 minutes to do what you have to do. So it's your job to get those kids sweaty, smiley, happy, and engaged. That's your number one job. That's the number one job. All right, this is where my technical skills are not. So I have this is no offense to, again, Mike Mottow's point, everyone's teaching skills, but I have this video up. It is well done. There we go. Yep. Leave it, run it. It's good. You can stop it. So you get the idea. Unbelievable video. Great music. And the kids, I am not anti-skills. Sometimes I leave these things and I've gotten Twitter beefs with people like, oh, you're against skills. I'm not against skills. The problem to me is none of that is game-like. I mean, for me, I've yet to see a kid lying on the ice. Just the other thing that I noticed too is the coach gets the most reps, which is an interesting concept. There is a place for that. One of the Twitter beefs I got in somebody was they sent me a clip of the Devils who were working on skills on Tuesday. They said, see, I told you, this is what matters. This is the NHL. And after I hashtag you suck them, I went back to him. I said, do you understand the context of what the Devils are doing? Do you understand where this fits in? I said, one, they have a guy named Pertti Hasanen who works with John Hines, who strictly looks at just this singular part of the game. You know, he's got stuff he does in the summer here, around here, and all over the place. But he singularly focuses on this part, one. Two, they have 9 coaches on the ice with them. 21 players on an NHL roster at practice. They have 9 coaches making sure that every rep in detail is perfect and that they're really doing exactly what he's looking for. So there's a place for skill development if it's in the right and plus the Devils, you know, they've been at it now for almost 10 weeks. I mean, that's a hard season. I know it looks glamorous and they stay in the nice places, they're on the charter planes and all of it looks great. John Hines happens to be a friend of mine. You know, and he says, even though we're staying in the Four Seasons, he says, you know, travel's hard. You know, there's days guys don't want to get out from under the covers. He says, you know, we're in Buffalo, we're in New Jersey in the morning, we fly to Buffalo, we play in Buffalo, we get on a plane and go to Winnipeg, we get a plane, and all of a sudden we're in Minnesota, and guys just like, you know, I'm tired. So they filter this stuff in. So to me, those are isolated block skills. They're skills that aren't translatable because they are just specific. Again, hitting a ball on the driving range. Yes, there's some muscle memory and there's things you need to learn, but if you want to play golf and be a better golfer, you have to sometimes hit a driver with the dogleg left. Where sometimes there's water 300 yards out and you got to pull back on it a little bit. Same thing with hockey skills. Potter? Okay. And everybody who can do anything for me is left. I have a clip now. So a lot of times as people say to me, okay, so what are you going to do? What's your perfect practice? To me, you should start every practice with tag and keep away. Tag and keep away. Whoop.
That's not it.
That's not it. Tag and keep away. 1, you're going to work on skating and puck handling in game-like situations. 2, you're creating engagement. This is fun. Be prepared for this one thing, though. True story. I do some work with Westwood Youth Hockey. Said, we're going to play tag, and kid said to me, Coach, what's that? And it's true. I mean, part of it is no more recess, no more gym, more Xbox, more Netflix, things that we take for granted. He literally said to me, Coach, what's tag? I'm like, well, it's when you chase somebody, what do I do? Well, you tag them. Then what? Well, then they chase you. Oh, all right. But if you can play tag and keep away at the start of every practice, your kids are going to become better skaters. What do we want from skating? If we had a goal, if someone said, what is the goal of power skating or skating? What do we want them to be?
Fast.
Louder.
Fast.
We want them to be faster. We want them to be faster, more agile, more elusive, ability to close on people. It would be great if everybody skated the exact same way, that perfect. You know, you see the things for power skating, and again, it has value, but everyone doesn't skate the same. Jim Furyk has the ugliest golf swing in North America. The only thing that matters is he gets the club head square of the ball. You want your kids to be able to propel themselves fast, be able to change direction, be able to skate forwards, backwards, change direction, stop, go fast, go slow, be deceptive. That's what you want out of skating. Watch them play tag. That's what you can help them become. Watch them play keep away. When you have the puck, you want to hold on to it as long as possible until you can make a play. When you don't have it, you want to get it back. You want to hunt it down relentlessly. That's tag and keep away. I like this, by the way. I'm a big Twitter guy. Dr. Martin Toms is a guy from England who I follow. I thought this was kind of related to what I'm talking about here. Okay. We go back to this. Paul, can you?
Oh, you want to go back to a video?
No, this one right here. So this is, can you play this? This is what we do. I do this at Babson. I do this with boys. I do this with girls. I do it with 20 years old, 18 years old, 12 years old. Real world, there's other people on the ice in the game. You can see some of the players start to add deception, little shoulder fakes. People say, how do you work on backward skating? Player going forward is the tagger. Player going backwards is the player trying to avoid being tagged. Now we move into keep away. And so on. We'll go into from there 3 players, 1 puck, 4 players, 1 puck, 5 players, 2 pucks. 1 against 1 against 1, 2-on-2 keep away, 3-on-3 keep away. For us at Babson, for me at Bach with Charles River Girls, KP Walpole, Westwood Youth Hockey, whoever I interact with, we usually start with that. And again, I think if you go back to the isolated skills, Paul, I just need help probably getting this to the next slide. If you go back to the isolated skills of just doing the skill with no resistance versus the skill with someone trying to take it away from you, someone trying to get away from you, someone trying to make you or prevent you from doing what you want to do. To me, that has more value. And again, youth hockey, part of what we do, it's great, is engagement, is fun, and people sometimes say, oh, fun, yeah, it should be fun, we're here to win. If they have fun, they will get better. If they get better, you will win more. Period, end. The problem is, and here's where it's really hard as coaches. People walk into the rink and see what I do with tag, and you know what they say? Who has, someone, you can probably say it here. Someone, if you feel it, say it. Most people say, it's a waste of time. I've had people walk in to every rink I've ever been in, see me start with that and say, what a waste of time. Parents are paying, as Coach Denny said, a lot of money. So what do they want when they walk into the rink? Yeah, we're getting it. Drills, skills, what they want, something they can quantify and identify. They're skating around a circle, they're working on skating. The next time someone has a game where a kid skates around 5 circles in a shift, call me. The next time you play a game where kid skates around 4 cones, call me. But parents come in, they want something they can identify. They want something that they can say, this has value. I see what, I can value this. I know what they're doing. The problem is, again, it's not game-like. They see what I do, and most of them start, and I've had, again, people tell me, you know what, that's a waste of time. Fine. I try to talk to them about it. I try to explain why we're doing, how we're doing, what we're doing, and how it fits in the big picture. But that's the reality. You will have people, if you do something like that, I spoke at the New England one, and a coach said, I loved it, I did it, and all the parents said they wanted their kids to lead my team. I said, congratulations, you're doing great, welcome aboard. The crazy train is leaving the station, I'm the conductor. But to me, it's more game-like. Part of gaming your practice, part of making your practices more game-like is education. Okay? So everyone's trying to create the next Jack Eichel. Every youth organization, every parent, every town, every community, every agent's looking for them. And when I talk about gaming practice, one of the reasons I came to this is most people want one of these balls. This is their answer. How is Junior going to become the great player I want him to become? So they look at it and they say, okay, I believe in the 10,000-hour rule. We're going to practice more. I'm going to sign you up for 9,000 specialty coaches, and we're just going to do it by 10,000 hours of practice. It's a piece of it. Expert coaching. We've gone to this guy. I went by a banner in a rink recently, and one person was laying claim to having developed over 500 NHL players. Interesting thought. We'll leave it at that. The guru coach, expert coaching, better team or league. How many of you guys and ladies have had a team and the next spring or the next fall, there's kids missing? Wow, you guys are doing a great job. Oh, we really loved you, Jeff. You do a great job, but, you know, we had a chance to play for the AAA Double Elite Secret Squirrels. We love you. You did a great job. My son loved it. He was never happier. You guys had a great year. But the Secret Squirrels, they're a pretty good opportunity. That's good. Enjoy first grade. New equipment. The equipment companies aren't stupid. Jack Eichel uses a stick, therefore, you got to have the Bauer Supreme 7.9 XXX 220 flex Eichel curve. Your kid comes home, Dad, I need this stick. Okay. The off-ice guru, nothing against it. There's a place for it, like Coach Danny said earlier. You know, at 8 years old, they don't need a dynamic warm-up. They don't need suits. Strength training is great. We are all in a race. We're racing to get the finish line as fast as we can. I have literally seen people trying to train. I'm not talking physical literacy like we used to have in gym where you did the vault one day and the next day you played dodgeball and then you played floor hockey and then it was flag football. Like literally working on strength movements with 10 and 11-year-old kids. But people are like, well, so I have a son who's 15 who's 6'4" plus. My wife's tall and we hang him upside down at night if you're looking for the answer. He's 6'4" plus. Sometimes people, well, how'd you do that? I'm not sure I was conscious for when it happened. Genetics plays a huge part of it. But at the end of the day, to me, the one in the top left, I put the smallest because it's what most people view, because the other balls they think are the ones that are more important. Passion. Anything you like to do, you will do well usually. You will stick to it. You will stay at it longer. You will work harder at it. You will be willing to do more extra. You will be willing to learn more about. If you are passionate about something, usually you have more success. Usually you're willing to do the extra it takes. So it isn't any one of these. Yeah, you need good coaching. That's why we're here. You guys, as Mark Denny said, I am in awe. I coach 2 youth hockey teams, or I try to. I'm a part-time coach. I go when I can get there. I have my Babson team, but I think it's important that I give back. I've been coaching youth hockey now for 12 years. I mean, I really believe it. I've done Learn to Play. I do youth, as I said, I coach a U15 team that my son doesn't play on. I believe in what you guys do is incredible. So you need good coaching. You need genetics. You need good equipment. Just don't tell my kids. They think hand-me-downs are always new. Play against sports. We keep them in business. You need to be on a good team. Yeah. You know, you need to have some off-ice piece. Yeah. But passion to me at the end of the day is really the most important thing. And if you game your practice, you create passion. They can't wait to get there. They don't want to drill. They want to play. Go back to what we started with. We say our kids don't play much, then we bring them to the rink and we drill them to death. So people will often say, okay, coach, so you just do games and practice. And that's Babson, youth hockey. Come at the end, on the sheet, there's a slide. You can come to my practice anytime. I'm happy to share. I have 2 DVDs out there. This is what I wholly believe in, and this is why. That represents what I thought of the first 75 terms of hockey coaching. So you have a youth hockey practice of 50 minutes. We already discussed that. It's about 38. These are some of the things: power play, neutral zone, stopping, hockey sense, one-timing, back check, wing play, D play, pass exchange, man down. It's about 28 million results in less than a second when I typed up the word hockey practice. These are all the things. So you've got to cover all this right now in 38 minutes. Good luck. Go. The game will cover all these things. At some point, a player will lose his stick. There'll be offense, there'll be defense, there'll be transition. There'll be passing, there'll be give and goes, one-on-ones, 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 3-on-1, 3-on-2, 3-on-1. There'll be man up, there'll be man down, depending on what you do and how you do it. Okay? Elemental to the game. You either have the puck or you're trying to get it back. It's the simplest piece of hockey. And to me, there is not a single drill in the world, the best one-on-one drill you can design, the best. D-man comes off the wall, fake shot, escapes, passes, gets it back, one-times it, gaps up, skates backwards. The forward has done 15 jumping jacks around the net and goes. You're still trying to create the same thing. One player has the puck, the other player's trying to get it back. And again, similar to the skating around 5 circles, I've yet to really see a full ice one-on-one. Very rarely will it ever occur where someone goes around a circle and skates the length of the ice against someone else who skates backwards. They happen in small, tight, combative areas. They might happen up the ice. We played a game yesterday. I honestly can't think of one-on-one we had through the neutral zone to our net. It was one game, small sample, but they happen more in small area games. They happen more in little combative situations that you create or develop or allow them to play in than they do in a full ice situation. I mentioned earlier about the courage. You have to, if you're going to coach this way, if you're going to introduce this, you have to have the courage of your convictions. People want to identify things, but they say this is how it was done before. This is what I did. This is how I learned. I came home from Newton Wellesley Hospital on September 14th in 1967. My mother was smoking. I was sitting on her lap without a seatbelt in a station wagon with my father driving, who, having had me born, maybe had had a drink or two. Things evolve, they change. You now come home in a car seat that's strapped in by a firefighter that when you go to resell the car, you hope to God that they have a child, because you can't get it out. You put a baby on board sign so everybody in the world knows not only did you have a kid, but please don't rear end me at the light when you're texting. They send you home with stuff. You walk out with bottles and bags and all this. And Joy Rice was like, what's for dinner, Frank? Things evolve. They change. What we did, what we've done before, how we've taught it before, it changes. There was a social media presentation that we went to a year ago, and it went through, if you just think in our lifetimes, everything that's come and developed. You know, I joke all the time. I have a great friend, Paul Canado, who coached at Milton Academy. And we were sitting in Cedar Rapids recruiting in 1999. He's like, you know, someday you're going to have one of these things that's going to be like a computer in your hand. I'm like, yeah, right. Voila. 2017, it's more than a computer. A scheduler, contacts, phone, internet, social media, text somebody, find a parking spot, listen to music. Things change. The fact that when I played Newton Youth Hockey in 1970 to 1982, that we did 3-on-2s around, that's fine. Things change. We need to get with it. Chip Kelly and Paul Westhead, you know, probably two of the more controversial coaches, but both very successful. Paul Westhead, who knows anything about him? Somebody. Basketball, what's he famous for? Who said that?
Me.
Offense. What in specific? What did they do?
Just shot as quick as they could up and down the court, fast.
They shattered records. Loyola Marymount, Hank Gathers. They shattered records. This'll never work. Now, they didn't win a national title, so maybe it wasn't successful. But they shattered records. They played up and down the court, eventually became the coach of the Lakers, and he ran into the problem of professional athletics. We're like, oh, we don't do that this way. He didn't care. Chip Kelly, again, out of work, unconventional, I get it. He invented what you see now on every level of football. My son's a 9th grader at St. Sebastian's. They play a spread hurry-up offense. High school football. They have everything but the signs with Lee Corso's picture on it. But when Chip Kelly started, it was like, oh no, this will never work. You know, the NFL will never go to this. Patriots are at their best when they're in their 2-minute offense. Last week, they get a huge play because Brady recognizes they go up to the line, there's 12 Falcons on the field, he hikes the ball. Because they're playing hurry up and Atlanta couldn't adjust. So this is not revolutionary that I'm either of these guys, but doing this will cause some people to say this is nonsense. And the last one I have is the Warriors, which are obviously a hot topic. But this was in the New York Times, and they're talking about Steve Kerr. And basically, they start their practice, it looks like open gym is how it's been described. Guys are throwing up the ball from half court. They're just dribbling around, shooting whatever. And one of the people said, you know, if someone came to your practice, they think it sucks. He's got great players. I get that. But that willingness as a coach to give up some control. We, by nature, are control freaks. Myself included. What time we get to the rink, you know, I'm sure all of us do it. Send the email out. I'd like you here at 1:45. We're wearing dark shirts. Da, da, da. Give the game to the players. You want to create better players? Give them the game. Let them play. Let them develop. Let them make mistakes. Let them figure it out. They are not robots. And if we're going to allow that in the game, we have to do it in practice. We have to use small games, small area games, games with conditions. I'm not someone who says it has to be small area games. We play games that are full ice. We play games that are quarter ice. We play games that are half ice. We play games with goalies, without goalies. Basically, I look at the game, and everything I see, I say, okay, I can make a game out of that. That's a power play. I can make a game out of that. It's just how I view the game. I mean, it's my vision of it. I'm not saying it's the only thing. If everyone leaves here and, to me, does one more game or one more game of tag or keep away, I think you're on the right track because you're letting the players develop and get a little bit better. Again, I don't talk over my slides. Why do we practice? How did I get to this point today? Why do we practice? hopefully to make the kids better, to increase their abilities, to make them better players, to have some part in their journey to becoming better hockey players, to loving the game more. You know, why do we practice? It's to make them better. Who here had a walking coach when they were 9 months old? No? You did?
Parents, my parents.
How'd they let you learn?
Fall. They just picked me up.
Yeah. Picked you up, let you fall. Now you make sure you put a rubber bumper, another one of those things. You know, my mother's smoking, and our house was not childproof. I probably stuck my finger in more sockets than anybody. Explains the lack of hair I have. You learn. And that, to me, is, again, what we're searching for. It's not the only way. There's a place, if you want to have someone work on a specific skill, absolutely. If you want to have someone work on skiing, great. Find someone who can do that in specificity and do a good job with it. Just because they have a great video or website or brochure doesn't mean they're good at what they do. You know, really try to find someone. If you need that, great. Off ice, great. Nutrition, great. But what we do, when I talk about all that, we're talking about small numbers of coaches to small numbers of pupils. Most of us have teams of 10, 12, 14, 15 kids. And it's just impossible for us to teach all those skills that need be perfectly. The second part of why I do this, why I coach for USA Hockey, why I coach BAPS, why I coach youth hockey, and Mark alluded to it a little bit. You know, this just came out. I am not interested so much in that we need to create more drafted players. I'm interested in this as one measure of how we're doing. Not a perfect measure by any stretch. But it is a little alarming when you look at our numbers, and I'm going to guess for this purpose, when they said Boston, they're talking greater Boston. I mean, they're talking probably out to Worcester. They weren't talking just metropolitan downtown Boston. And when you look at the fact that you have St. Paul and Minneapolis, which are like, you know, Dedham and Norwood, part of the reason I believe in this is because we are not doing as well as we could be, myself included. This is one small metric about where we are developmentally. It's not the only measure by any stretch. Massachusetts is the #1 producer of Division III college hockey players in the country. #1. Our roster features over half Massachusetts-born kids. When I played, someone brought up the point earlier about, you know, there wasn't hockey in Florida. There wasn't hockey in Arizona 10, 15, 20 years ago. 1990, I graduated from Babson College. We have one kid from outside of Massachusetts. He's from Warwick, Rhode Island. This year, our captain's from Bradenton, Florida. If you had told me that, I would have said you're insane in 1990. Every single kid I played with lived probably within Worcester, and the majority of them were inside of 128. It's a different game. It's a bigger game. Austin Matthews just came out. If any of you followed Toronto, had a big brouhaha. Metropolitan Toronto, they went to cross ice, and the parents are apoplectic. It's not real hockey. They're suing the GMTHL. Parents are suing this organization because they're making 5-year-olds play cross ice hockey. Austin Matthews came out and said, that's how I learned. And that's reality. Some of these areas, one, it wasn't a threat to have a kid from Arizona play hockey, or Florida, or California. But two, some of these areas are just getting on board now with this is how, okay, this ADM makes sense. Or this small area game stuff makes sense. Or this cross ice makes sense. Yeah, sure, why wouldn't we? My kid plays Little League, it's a smaller field, so we should play hockey on a smaller sheet. They're not wed to these traditions that we are. Where myself included, oh, that's not how I learned. That's not how I played. I appreciate it. I hate rambling on the whole time. Questions, thoughts, have at it. I'm pretty good. I'll wait here until someone asks 3 questions, so I stand between you and a coffee break.
I coach at a UAT
always have come through. And I think buy-in on the small area games is there. Local organizations still struggle with the fact of being able to get that mix where they have to outsource to get skills. And I'm sure you know that there are just these skills gurus that are out there, and a lot of them do it to make a buck. So in your opinion, to help organizations kind of look for someone that can come in and maybe supplement that, because parents look for that so that they're getting, enough for their dollar. What would you, in your opinion, as a recommendation for an organization to look for when they're looking for someone to come in and maybe do skills?
Good question. One is the person who you're hiring, the person who's going to be there. To me, that's number one. There are hockey camps and skills that will be listed, and I'm pretty sure it's impossible to be in California doing a battle camp and in Dedham doing a youth camp at the same time. Who are you hiring? Will they be there doing it? That's number one to me. Number two, when they come, are they engaged? And I know in King Philip Walpole for a while, they would bring people in for rotation. So they had basically 2 months where they had 4 different groups come in and do the skills. They had to observe it. Now, you're getting a good front, but I think physically seeing who does it, what they promise, are they doing it, are they engaged, is a critical piece. Two, how do they treat the kids is really important. I do stuff at Bach for the Charles River and militia organizations and the Bach youth. I do skills, and I fell into it because my son was playing there. There's another gentleman, Mike Bavis, and I. They had a skills coach, and the problem they had is by the end of the first month, no one was going. They would line up on the goal line and skate full ice for 50 minutes. And again, some of it's identifiable, but so I fell into doing some skills, and Mike Bavis and I, we're not doing that, we're doing this. And that's where we've had some people say, you guys suck, and yeah, hi, thanks, nice to see you. But we believe in it. But I think who does it, will they be there doing it, and then watch how they do it and how they interact with the kids. Does that help? 2 others before we go. Come on. Have to be 2 other questions. Anything's on the table.
Do you see a balance between, skill drills as opposed to the mini games? And the reason I ask is you use golf as an example. I'm a golfer. I can fix my swing on the range. I can't fix it in the middle of the round. I get 10 drivers in the course of the round.
Yeah.
I go to the range. I get a high level of repetition. I work on my technique. But then I bring it out to the course to
Sure.
try and make the game applicable.
Yep. It's a great question. I'm really bad because I'm the other way. I'm like, no, you keep playing to figure it out. I think 2 things. One, I think the role of the coach is really undervalued in the small area game piece. When you are having these games, that's when the coach should be the most engaged so that they're getting that feedback. Part of, like you said, I can't fix it out on the course. It's easier on the range. One of the things you can do when you use games in practice is you get a lot more interaction with the kids. Hey, did you see this? You could have cut back there. Hey, maybe this is a play you could look for. Maybe that's a piece that you could do. 2, I would say with what we have for ice time, I would take as many of the transferable skills that we need and are able to be used off the ice to off the ice. So when we talk about the balance, I would rather see the kids take 10 minutes off the ice and do the various stick handling drills, shoot pucks. Again, I got a street hockey net in my yard that doesn't get used, and a bucket full of pucks. So if anybody's looking for a deal, just hit me up on Twitter. But I think that to me is where you can really get what you're searching for and asking about, and what I'm hoping we can do in practice. Because I think if the kids took the time for 10 minutes to stick handle a ball off the ice, we're talking about some of that isolated skill development, which is important to the next step. If they shot some pucks in the driveway, that isolated skill element, which is important to the next step. But again, I want them shooting in a game where someone's trying to block it, or someone's trying to prevent them from shooting it, or they got to handle a pass in their skates. Again, what happens in most drills? The kid goes out around a cone, he comes down, he misses the puck, and he keeps going net, and he misses the second one, he misses the third one, you give him a fourth one, he shoots it in. In a game, there's only one of them. So if I go to shoot and I miss it, I better stop and try to get that back. If I go to shoot and this gentleman blocks it, I got to react and pick it up wherever it may be. One more question. I think we're probably up against it here. There's got to be somebody. Yeah.
So are you recommending that at the youth level, 100% of your practice is games?
I am. In some form. Again, I'm talking, I count tag and keep away as a game. You know, I count what I call beanie. It's in the package, one-on-one where they're skating through a tire. I think that system play is so overrated, it's beyond belief. I'm not saying that I'm right. This is my opinion. I think system play at the youth level is insane. Is beyond crazy. Because one, you're creating robots. Two, you are probably conceptually either dumbing it down to where they are intellectually as far as hockey sense, or two, inserting your own, look at me, we stopped them from doing this. So when I say games, I'm talking passing games, keep away, tag, playing games. But for me, yes, what would you want your perfect player to be able to do? Give me one thing. Your perfect player. You've got a perfect player. What's one thing? Shoot a puck. What's something else? Skate fast. What's another thing? Stop the puck. Goalie guy. Love it.
Read and react.
Read and react. What else? Be aggressive. Back check. Defending. Passion. Compete. Lead. See the ice. Pass. Exactly. What have we talked about as a system? What does it matter where they stand? You know what I love? People have come to see some of my youth hockey teams, and there's a one-on-one in the corner, and all of a sudden there's three of our guys. If they beat us, so be it. But we're probably going to get the puck back. It doesn't look pretty. But you know what? Our kids can skate with a puck. They can play with their head up. They can move a puck. They can hopefully make a right play along the way. And it's a long, messy process. You don't start in second grade and all of a sudden they put you in calculus in third. I mean, one of the things that I think, again, talking about Mark Dennehy's measurement, you want to measure success. At the end of practice, they're sweaty and they're smiling and they can't wait to come back. At the end of the season, they play for you next year. You want to measure success, that's how you do it. High retention, high happiness. Because like that slide, there's some genetics, there's some passion, there's some good coaching, whatever, that are going to make it. The reality is almost none of them are going to make it the highest level. There are 25,000 plus players per age group in USA Hockey. So you want to play college hockey at UMass Boston for Coach Belisle. You're competing against 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000 borns. USA Hockey, 100,000 players. Coach Belisle might have next year 7 freshmen? Yeah. 100,000 for that 7 spots. We haven't counted Canada. We haven't counted Europe. And we haven't counted everybody else who wants those same players. So getting up the pyramid is harder than it's ever been. Again, Captain at Babson, Bradenton, Florida, was a pipe dream in 1990. It was a pipe dream. Austin Matthews, Arizona, #1 pick overall, pipe dream in 2000. It is hard. What we are trying to do is create a great environment, create a passion for the game, create people who want to sit in these seats 10, 15, and 20 years from now, who don't want to play other sports because they no longer love hockey or hate it or hate their coach or hate the season or hate the travel or hate the practice, that want to play for Coach Moore at Falmouth High, that want to keep Massachusetts high school hockey going, that want to support the private teams and the club teams and the junior teams, because we have more kids playing at a younger level than ever. Than ever. So we should have more kids playing at an older level than ever. So if they leave practice, they're sweating, they're smiling, and they can't wait for the next one, and they leave your team at the end of the year, and they come back to play for your organization, or they haven't left because the secret squirrels have recruited them away, then I think you're doing a great job. Again, what you all do is incredibly important. Without you, I don't have a job. I went to Babson College, and my wife sees the alumni magazine every month, and I hide it. Because there's a lot of people who are retired who she could have married, and she said, how did I hitch my wagon to the guy who wanted to be a hockey coach? You're at the #1 business school in the world, and you want to coach hockey. How does that make sense? What you do is incredibly important. I love hockey. Coach Belisle, you know, we are hockey lifers, and we wouldn't have the opportunity to do what we do without all of you and your efforts and really the dedication and passion for the kids. So thank you very much on behalf of Mass Hockey and USA Hockey, college hockey coaches, high school hockey coaches.